When you think of the wolf, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's this almost mythical creature from folklore. But today, we're going to go way beyond that. We're going to look at the real animal, a creature that's incredibly intelligent, deeply social, and absolutely essential to the health of our planet. So let's peel back the layers and get into the science.
Right? These are powerful words: predator, myth, legend. The wolf just lives in our imagination as this ultimate symbol of the wild. But how much of that is just stories we've told ourselves, and what's the actual biological truth? That's exactly what we're digging into. So here's the journey we're going to take. First, we'll tackle the wolf of legend. Then we'll bust the whole lone wolf myth and talk about the pack. After that, we dive into their surprising intelligence, see how they can literally reshape an entire ecosystem, and finally, we'll look at where things stand today, the new science and the new conflicts.
All right, first up, the legend. You know the one I'm talking about, the big bad wolf. For hundreds of years, stories have painted this picture of a sneaky, evil predator. But the reality of Canis lupus is so much more complex and, honestly, way more interesting.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's been a symbol of wilderness and a creature of mystery forever. That mystique, that feeling of the unknown, is actually the perfect backdrop for the incredible scientific truths we're starting to uncover.
Now, maybe the single biggest myth is the idea of the lone wolf. It's this romantic, tough guy image, but the reality? It couldn't be more different. The real story isn't about a solitary killer. It's about a highly sophisticated family unit we call the pack.
I mean, we all know the phrase lone wolf. We use it all the time to describe someone who's independent, who goes it alone. But here's the thing. Applying that to an actual wolf completely misses the point. It misses the one thing that makes them so successful, and that's each other. So let's put it side by side. The myth is this solitary killer. The reality? It's a cooperative family. A pack is usually just a family, led by the parents, what scientists used to call the alphas. This family structure is their ultimate survival tool. They hunt together, defend their territory together, and raise their pups together. It's all about teamwork.
And all that social complexity, well, it hints at something much deeper. It points to a real intelligence. So now let's try to get inside the mind of this predator and look at some new research that is just completely changing how we think about animal intelligence. So this is the big question, right? We know they're amazing hunters, but what is actually going on up there? Is it all just instinct, or is there some real problem solving, some real thought happening? Well, science is starting to give us some answers, and they're pretty astonishing.
Okay, for example, get this. Their relationship with ravens. For a long time, we just thought ravens followed wolves around to get leftovers, but a study found it's way more than that. Ravens actually remember where wolves have made kills in the past and will go back to those spots. That means they have a mental map and can actually anticipate what the wolves might do. It's this incredible strategic partnership between two totally different animals. But it gets even crazier. The discoveries are pushing wolves into a category of behavior that we honestly thought was just for us and our closest relatives, like chimpanzees. What could a wolf possibly be doing that puts them in that exclusive club?
Tool use. I mean, it's just wild to even say it. Tool use. In one incredible observation, a wolf was seen using a man-made object, a buoy and a rope, to actively manipulate something in its environment. This isn't just instinct. This is creative problem-solving on the fly, and it really forces us to redraw the lines of what we thought animals were capable of.
Okay, so wolves are social, they're smart, but their story gets even bigger. Their impact goes way beyond their own pack. They are quite literally architects of their entire ecosystem. The presence of this one animal can physically change the world around it. The scientific term for this is a trophic cascade. But really, all that means is it's a massive domino effect. When you take a top predator like the wolf out of an ecosystem or put one back in, the effects don't just stop there. They ripple all the way down the food chain, creating these huge, sweeping changes. And there's no better example of this than the Yellowstone effect. It's an incredible story. It starts when wolves were brought back after being gone for 70 years. Now, they didn't just reduce the elk population. They changed how the elk behaved. The elk got scared. They stopped hanging out in the open valleys, which meant they stopped eating all the young willow and aspen trees. Well, those trees started to grow back. Beavers returned because they had trees to build dams. The dams created new ponds and habitats. The new tree roots stabilized the riverbanks, which actually changed the course of the rivers themselves. The wolves didn't just change the animal life. They literally reshaped the geography. It's mind-blowing. And that brings us to today. to the wolf of tomorrow. As we learn more and more, we're pushing into these wild new frontiers of science, but we're also running into some very old, very complicated conflicts about how we're supposed to live alongside them.
And it does not get more frontier than this. In a project that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, geneticists have actually edited wolf DNA to bring back some traits of the extinct dire wolf. Yep, the ones from Game of Thrones. The animals they created are even named Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi. And reports say they're already showing cooperative hunting behaviors. It's an unbelievable scientific achievement, but it also opens up this massive ethical can of worms about de-extinction.
And while that's happening in the lab, out in the real world, as wolf populations are bouncing back in places like Europe, old fights are flaring up again. You've got farmers and rural communities who are genuinely worried about their livestock, their safety, and their livelihoods. And then you have conservationists making the case that wolves are essential for a healthy ecosystem and a part of our natural heritage. It's the classic, difficult question: how do you balance the needs of people with the needs of the wild? So, where does that leave us? We've followed the wolf from being a fairy tale monster to a complex social strategist, a surprisingly clever problem solver, and an architect of entire landscapes. We saw how it reshaped the rivers in Yellowstone. So the final question, the one we have to grapple with now, is this. As science keeps pushing forward and these old conflicts heat up, how will our new understanding of the wolf end up reshaping our world?